Ponytails podcast. Here we go. Welcome to the show, everyone. My name is Andre Scamboa, and I am the host of the Ponytails podcast. Thank you for being with us. We continue on our journey through June with our European friends. If you have not heard about this before, if this is your first episode, welcome. This show interviews people who sold books door to door for a company called Southwestern Advantage. Now, we're not affiliated with Southwestern Advantage. However, we are all alumni of their internship program, which was this door-to-door sales experience that they offer to college students, not just in the United States, but all over the world. And so the company's been around since forever, like literally since like the Civil War. And they have 100,000 living alumni, which means our guest pool is infinite almost. And we've had now so many different people from so many different places who have come and shared their stories about what they're up to now, what their experience was like going door to door, and kind of like the vibe of this entire company. It's kind of a different thing. So hope you guys enjoy. If you didn't sell books, holy cow, buckle up your seatbelts. If you did sell books, hey, thanks for being here. I appreciate it. A couple of announcements before I bring in our guest today. And again, some of these you might have already heard, but hey, it's always worth listening to them again because things do get updated. So it's important to stay up to date with these. But I want to give a quick shout out to Elevate Wellness and who are helping us prepare for BIZZLER. Now, our BIZZLER trip is coming up August 15th through the 19th. So if you're listening to this and you sold books, you're more than welcome to come, and you can bring your spouse, even if they did not sell books. But it's going to be from August 15th through the 19th in Cancun, Mexico. We're going to the Riviera Maya, staying at the Valentin Imperial, which is like really nice, high-end resort. So it's not going to be like the Sizzler resorts. It's more of a nicer end, kind of like a GRG type of vibe. You can come and hang out with us throughout that week. It's super fun. Elevate Wellness are the people that are helping us get prepared for that, get our mental and physical states prepared for that. So even if you're not coming to BIZZLER and you guys are wanting to get into the rhythm now that the summer's on their way, maybe if you've been wanting to work on your physique for a while, maybe you're trying to get into a community that really helps you stay accountable to that. I cannot guarantee this better. Some of our guests have been working with Elevate Wellness for a while. Seth and Zane are the ones that started, Seth Hood and Zane Gallagher. And basically it's if you're this kind of person like me where I like to eat healthy, I want to eat healthy, I just don't know what that means, and I don't want it to be bland and boring and disgusting. I actually want to keep eating fun, good food, but without having to harm my body with what I put into it. I just don't know where to start. That's a good reason to start with Elevate Wellness. If you go to the gym and maybe you're like, I always do the same things, I'm just looking up YouTube videos, don't really have any traction, don't know how to keep a good plan going and develop my body as I need to, that's a good reason to talk to Elevate Wellness. More than anything, if you're wanting to just be a part of a community that keeps you accountable, that really helps you stay in rhythm and discipline to what you're doing with it while having fun, this is a place to go. So make sure you guys come visit us, and we can get you in touch with Seth and Zane at Elevate Wellness. So we'll see you guys on that one. Reach out to us. You can also reach out to them directly, Elevate Wellness, or on Instagram, or find Seth Hood and or Zane Gallagher to get their plan started. You get a discount if you start with us, or if you tell them that you heard about it through us. And so, of course, make sure you get a hold of them for that reason. So on that note, I also want to give a quick shout out to our homeboy Will Metscher with Southwestern Consulting. And Will's one of my better friends. He was one of the inspirations for the podcast, just because he introduced me to a lot of people here in Portland that sold books, and we had the instant connection. And if you're like me, one of the things that was so cool about being in Southwestern was being able to teach other people and coach other people to create a really solid, lasting impact on their lives, because they're learning things that most people aren't going to learn until their 30s, 40s, or 50s, if at all. But that's exactly what Will gets to do over at Southwestern Consulting, and he's looking for people to work with him. So he's one of their better coaches, And if you are the person that wants to make an impact on people like that, you got to work with Metscher. So his team, all the people under him are making over 6 figures per year, which is an awesome way to earn a living, is by helping people believe in themselves, reach their potential, and fulfill their goals. And so reach out to us if it sounds interesting. They're currently working to grow his team, and he's just doing a really fantastic job with them. So couldn't recommend it more than enough. So he's such an amazing human and an amazing person to work with, for sure. And then one more shout out to Cardinal Senior Benefits. They're one of our newest sponsors, and they always like to take the spot to recognize their agents, because as book people know, we love recognition. So last month, they had 10 out of their 60 agents gross over $30,000 for the month. 10 of them grossed over $30,000 for the month. One of the things that their agents love about Cardinal is that they offer both one-on-one coaching, training, and mentoring like Southwestern. Plus, they offer extremely competitive commission contracts. Most agents start off at 90% and then they get up to 130%. What? How does that work? Oh yeah, it works because insurance is that way. So to calculate the gross profit, you would simply take their premium and multiply by their commission rate. And most of the top agents are about 110 to 130% commission. Their top 10 agents with over 30,000 in premium for the month, 6 out of 10 were bookmen and 4 were non-bookmen. But here is the final tally. So Lucas Holland takes the number 1 spot, $76,000 of premium in 148 hours. So he averaged about 37 hours a week. Isaac McConkey, $65,000, 105 hours. So 26 hours a week. Michael K, $53K for 23 hours. Nathan Alberts, $46,000 in revenue, 37 hours. Carson Welch, 39,000 for 33 hours. Wow, that's not many hours. They can make so much money. Max Clark, 35,000 with 28 hours per week. Jeremy Checketts, 33,000 for 30 hours a week. He had no sales experience prior to that. And then bookman Ian Pinzado, 32,000 with 28 hours a week. Jordan Chappell, 31,000 for 2 hours a week. And then number 10, Travis Thompson, 31,000, 18 hours a week. All of their top 10 agents grossed over 30K. None of them average even 40 hours per week. Talk about flexibility of your schedule. If those numbers sound appealing to you, if you know a former bookman or a woman that may be looking for something new or just unhappy with what they're doing right now, they are hiring. And for the next few weeks, they're running a $500 referral bonus for anyone that they hire. So one thing you can do is click the link below. There's a link that says referral for under Cardinal. If you scroll down in the description of the episode, it's going to be a referral link. You can click on that and refer whoever you wish to work for Cardinal. Now, on that note, we can move towards our guest today. So Darta Saulīte. Hopefully I said that right. Woo! But one of the things I love about this month we're doing in June is that I'm getting to learn so much about so many different cultures. So Darta was born in Valmiera, Latvia. So it's cool. We have another European country and I'm pretty sure this is her first Latvian that's been on the show. So this is super exciting. She sold for 9 summers from 2010 to 2018, part of the Europe-1 division, Winged Plus organization. She of course went to University of Latvia for the most part, but really she's coming in live to us now from Tukums. I think I said that right. Tukums. I don't know. She'll let us know. And so please welcome to the show, Darta. What up?
Hi, yeah, you did pretty good. Yep.
Yeah, not bad. What did I mess up? Please help me improve.
No, it's all good. You're doing good.
Sweet. Well, I'm Andres Gamboa, and that's usually hard for people to R's, but for Eastern Europeans, it's pretty easy. They can all say Andres.
Andres Gamboa.
Look at you. Look at you. It's like you speak Spanish or something.
No, we just roll the R's differently than Americans do. So we have to learn how to do the R in English to sound American.
Oh, yeah. Andres. That's how they say. Andres.
Andres.
Andreas?
Yes.
Yeah. Isn't it funny when people mess up your name and you're like, all right, you know?
Yeah, don't even bother.
That's exactly right. Well, hey, welcome to the show. I'm so happy that you're here. This has been a
Yeah.
really cool thing. So, let's dive in. Where are you coming to us? What are you doing? What are you up to nowadays since 2018? And walk us through the journey that you've been through since leaving Southwestern to now 2022.
Yeah, I So, in after my 8th summer selling books, I actually was really, really curious if I could get a part in to be a Southwestern Consulting coach.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, then I sit down with Dustin and we had a chat about it. And then he said, go for another summer. So, and then my DSL as well, like, was all in it, like, just go and prove that you can do whatever you did that 2017 summer. That was my best summer, and I was number one in the company. And then they said, like, so that it's not a fluke or something, then just try and go another summer. And I did. I'm really grateful that everybody advised me to do that. And then because of those 2 summers and my career, yeah, I earned a spot in Southwestern Consulting. And a month after my last summer, I was in the States again for Rookie Roundup, and I was learning a new craft to be a coach.
Wow, so
And
fun.
yep, and then I've been like the first Latvian. I opened Latvia for Southwestern Consulting, so that was a challenge to be the first and only one here, and managing translations and the different culture and no names in the country, and trying to sell like, yay, we have some Estonian clients, and and then try to sell it in Latvia, and then people going like, like Estonians have such a different mentality. What have you done in Latvia? So all those fun objections. So I've been doing coaching for now the 4th year, I would say. Yep.
Wow. Wow.
Then I also I did part of the things to learn more about B2B sales, and also to secure myself a maternity leave paycheck. I worked in a startup in Latvia for the last year, and
Wow.
and then kind of like getting more experience and as a sales leader in a like a tech company selling IT products. And yeah, and now 2.5 months I'm a new mom.
Yeah, that's cool. That is so fun.
So totally
Congratulations.
different, totally different responsibilities, changing diapers and feeding and stuff. So yeah, like,
With all this manure, there's gonna be a baby somewhere, right? There it is.
yep, exactly.
That's so awesome.
So
Wow, I have so many questions. Okay, okay, okay.
sure.
Question number one. Question number one. What's how hard slash easy is it to start a consulting like the Southwestern Consulting in Latvia from compared to like how they do it here? Because I know Will's told me a little bit about how he does it, and
Hmm.
the business people here I feel like are kind of sometimes a little different. And from other European friends that we've had on the show that I've talked to already, they've said that it's a different, like the mentality of starting a business and being a business owner is a little different in Europe. I don't know if
Yep.
that's the case in Latvia. So have you found it to be kind of well, like, I guess, what are some of the challenges that you ran into when you were trying to teach people, hey, I'm going to coach you? Like, this is what's up.
Um, It's different. So one challenge that I had was the pricing. I guess at first it seemed like pretty steep for important until you have enough clients, you have to get those, right? So that was one thing that I was like facing, I guess. But then like compared to USA, US coaches usually get almost full coaching clients. Like, so basically as they come in, they're packed with coaching clients and they can build up their skill as a coach, and then they're selling. When you start a new country, and like I got one client, so I had to sell all of my clients myself. And then
Right.
eventually I got one or two clients from Estonian coaches as well. But so that was the tricky part, that Andrus was saying that it's kind of harder to sell a Baltics coach from one country to another. So I had to really sell all of my clients myself until I built up that base. So it was quite different. Since I was the only one, I
Yeah.
didn't have anybody to um, share the clientele as well here. But now I do. So
Right.
it's
And
different.
and that should be explained both for the sake of, Will, who does this, but basically the way it works here, at least, to so for because people might not understand the differences,
Yes.
is like they have 130 coaches, I think, or something now, and some of
Something
them
like
are
that.
the majority of them are in the United States. But what happens is if the way it works is you do like a workshop, and
Mm-hmm.
if people are interested in learning more and working with that coach or working with Southwestern Consulting, then they go and say, yeah, sign me up, I'll pay monthly for this coaching. However, just because that coach signed that person up, it doesn't mean that they are going to be coaching that person. It could be that there's a better fit based on personality, based on
Yeah.
gender, like whatever comfortability that the other person has. So they'll send, say, Will, who got this client, they'll send him over to Yvette, who maybe
Yep.
because of her track record, whatever, for whatever reason, it just makes more sense to go with them. Vice versa. What you're saying is the challenge was that since you were the only one, there wasn't anybody else sending you people. It was just you were creating it from scratch, until some Estonians kind of send you some people, but for the most part, it was just kind of you on your own. And man, that's
Yeah.
challenging for sure. Yeah.
And then there's the other challenge. If you sell enough clients, for example, I think one of my first workshops I sold 7. And then if I sold 7 and they all speak Latvian, and or like they, I think 2 of them were willing to have an English speaking coach. So then, so that was another challenge, to have the entire company in your hands and coach them all from different sides. And then it
Wow.
gets tricky because that's a lot of responsibility for one coach to take on. And so yeah, so
You
it
made
was
it
fun.
work.
I definitely learned. So I learned a lot.
Eating problems for breakfast. That's all you were doing.
Yep,
You're just
exactly.
hanging out eating. That's awesome. So okay, so that's the first question. Second question is, now you've been coaching for 4 years, and I mean, heck, you were the number one in the company, like experience and everything, right? Is what I heard in 2017, right?
Yep.
And so in which we can get to that summer, when we get to
Yeah,
your
sure.
Southwest, we'll get to that. But from your perspective of like coaching, and I like to ask this to people who do sales coaching, what do you think, in your opinion, is the thing that makes a salesperson good at sales? I mean, let's say we have two people who have the same skill, same background, same mentality, or like, maybe not mentality, but same, I characteristics. What would make one
Mm,
better than the other at sales, in your opinion, or in your experience?
I think hunger for learning and
Oh,
applying those
good.
skills. So that's what my best coaching clients, like, they are just hungry, one call to the next, they're just like, hey, let's move on, let's, like, I've tried this, I've done this. And like, and that hunger can, it can be ups and downs, a roller coaster during a whole coaching year or even longer. But like, it has to be there, otherwise it's not
Mm.
a good client for us.
Interesting. That you're the first person that said that, and I love that answer. I think that's so good. Just like the student of the game wanting to learn.
Yes, yes, exactly. Otherwise, the coaching doesn't work if you're like, just as a coach, you're pushing something on the client that you see that they need it. You can try and you can sell it to them, but if they're open-minded and willing to listen, that's a different story, and that's like entirely different experience for a coach and the person who is being coached.
Okay, so then follow-up question on that is,
Mhm.
there's been times, and this is me just asking personally, there's been times where I feel like I'm being coachable and I'm probably not, and there's been times that I don't think I'm being coachable and I totally am. What are
Mm.
some characteristics, or what does it look like when someone's being coachable, do you think?
um that they're asking questions, that's just the simplest thing, I guess, that they're
Yeah.
trying to like ask, what are they doing good, what are they missing. And like, you can just hear it in the voice, I think. Or
Mm.
if somebody is just like, yep, I've done this, yeah, it doesn't work, this doesn't work. Or like, if they feel like they've arrived, that's the spot, like, they're not gonna grow.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah. Do not so that's good right there. That's a good lesson. If you ever feel like you're arrived, yikes.
Yeah.
Not You don't
Think
really
in one of
ever arrive.
GRS's, yeah, like it was, who was saying this, that green is growing. So yeah, like, stay green.
Ooh, I love that. I'm gonna write that down. Ooh, write that down. That's good. Write that down. That's so good. Oh, wow. Thank you for sharing. Okay. So now you're a mom, brand new mom. So congratulations
Yes,
again. That's so cool.
thank you.
So far, 2.5 months. What are some of the things that you're noticing that are challenging? As a mom, that you're using your experience with coaching or with selling to kind of get you through? Because I know it's hard.
Oh, I will just relate with other moms, other parents so much better right now because of having that experience. I've had clients who have kids. I won't like I haven't been fully understanding them until now. Like the one is the love for the kid, the other is the job, extra job that you have. So
Yeah,
especially the first months, I'm pretty sure it will get crazy over the years as well. But yeah, I can relate better, and
yeah,
I definitely can be more. I can get more stuff done in between having to deal with a kid than I used
that's
to.
hilarious. That's so funny. I love that. That's so cool. So, wow, that's amazing. Thank you for sharing. And then now that you've been in coaching for 4 years, is it your long-term goal to continue and keep growing in the coaching, or are you just wanting to be more of a mom? Like, what's the future look like for you?
At the moment, I'm like, there's a difference in the States and here. So when you become a mom in any of the Baltic countries or pretty much anywhere in Europe, it's like a year or year and a half off with the kid. So it's pretty good time to to be.
What?
Um, yeah, it's paid maternity leave. So it's you have to be like yeah pay taxes for it, but it's pretty much different from if you're in the United States. So I
Yeah.
do coach on the sides. I do have a few coaching clients, and I will probably take on more over time as I feel more comfortable, just to stay sane and stay like in the game. So I feel like this is the best part-time job for a full-time mom that can be, because I don't want to go brain dead and just talk baby talk for 1.5 years.
Fair enough. That's amazing. I think here it's like 6 weeks depending on where you work.
Yeah.
And it's
So yeah,
nuts, man. Like you'd be back to work right now full time. It's been 6
no,
weeks. That's
no.
yeah,
Now,
we have.
like I was saying, my friend, like this is why there's so many stay-at-home moms in the United States. I understand.
Yeah, there you go. Well, which is good because those are the moms, those are the ponies.
Yep.
Those are the ponies. Amazing. That's so cool. Well, yeah, let's take it then into some of your Southwestern career and maybe wind the clock back a little bit if that's cool. I will
Sure.
share about some of our other partners really, really, really quickly, and then we'll move it into that. Is that a cool? Is that all right?
Yeah.
All right. So just so you guys are listening, know we have a couple more shout outs that we want to give out. The first one being into Southwestern real estate. Woo-woo. So if you're listening and you're like maybe Cardinals at your fit and maybe coaching isn't quite your fit, but you like the Property Brothers, you like HGTV, you like drama free workplaces, man, you need to go call Pat Roach and we'll get you in touch with him. They have done to the industry some amazing things. On average, 95% of people who start real estate quit a year later. 95%. Now, Southwestern Real Estate did the opposite, and 95% of their agents stay. That's crazy. And they're 99% drama free. It's a healthy culture. They took all the crappy aspects of like that Southwestern culture that people didn't like. They took all of that out. They kept 1% of it because you can't be perfect. And they made it 99% drama free. So they are experts in their field and they are helping people get started very, very quickly. A lot of six-figure incomes in that company as well. And so we love you, Pat. We love Southwest Real Estate, and shout out to all our guests who have been on the show with them. Um, then I also want to talk a little bit about Thought Leader. If you are out there, maybe actually this could be you, Dārta, where you're like, man, I have a lot of good ideas and I want to share them with the world. Then you need to talk to Dillon Barr at Thought Leader. So Thought Leader is they help people start TEDx talks. You know what I'm talking about? The red circle where they're like they talk. You stand on a red dot and then you give a speech. That's what they do. They've helped 400 people do that, and they are looking and partnering exclusively with Ponytails because they have a couple of roles open in their sales positions. So role number one is called the SDR role, and there's two, SDR and enrollment advisor. The SDR role is essentially people who are calling warm leads who have already expressed interest and are getting people qualified to make sure that they're fit for their program to do the TEDx talk. And then the enrollment advisor is essentially going in there, sitting down with already qualified leads. Their calendars pre-filled, and they're just calling people and closing them and talking to interesting people all day. So if you're interested in that, the earning potential for the roles are anywhere between 50 to 70K for SDRs and 130 to 250K a year for the enrollment advisor. Now, this is high caliber roles. So this isn't like, I just want to try my luck. No, this is like if you're good at sales and you really want to do something that you can avoid prospecting with, that'd be a good spot for you. Email Dillon Barr. That's his email is db@thought-leader.com. db@thought-leader.com. And thank you for coming to my TED Talk. And then last but not least, one more shout out over to Cardinal. Now, Cardinal started with Quentin Roberts, Nick Dale, and of course Pedro Vega, who was on our show back in May. Love Pedro Vega, and they've doubled and tripled their growth every year since they started, and they're looking to do it again in 2022. So every sales organization has their superstar, but what's more important about Cardinal is that from a percentage standpoint, the majority of the organization would be well above the average when it comes to final expense groups. So the cool thing about them is they're doing a giant expansion. So this is no cold calling, zero prospecting. They work fresh, warm leads, working measly 25 to 35 hours a week, and they're doing a pretty heavy push. So if you're wanting to know more about them, message them through the link below, and then you can get your info over to them. They will contact you. It's the link that is next to the Cardinal Senior Benefits. It's how you can refer people. So let them know that you're interested. Okay. On that note, back to Darta. So, all right, let's wind the clocks back. Latvia, you're sitting in college. Well, actually, maybe talk a little bit about like where you're from and kind of like your home country, how you got to college, and then from college, how you came to the United States to go door to door. What a wild ride. So take it away.
Yeah, I come from a city. I would say if you would call it a town, probably 25,000 people. The city or town in
Yeah, it's a
United
town.
States? A
It's
town,
a
okay.
town.
For
Here,
us, it's a city.
I'll share the map so we can see where you're from here. Here we go. So go ahead. Here we go. Boom.
Oh yeah. So I'm from Valmiera.
So people know where
That's
Latvia is.
Latvia. Yeah.
So we're looking at Europe here.
Good.
There. Let's
As
go.
we like
Let's
to
go
say when selling books, we like to say Northern Europe. A lot of
Northern Europe.
people say it's Eastern Europe for sure, it is, but then we relate with Northern Europe, and I usually say it's right below Finland. So it's a little bit below. There's Estonia in between.
Cool,
So
cool,
then
cool.
people kind of understand.
Yeah, so we've had people from the Czech Republic here, and we've had people from obviously Scotland, and we've had people from Moldova, we've had people from Poland. You're up here, right over here in Latvia. Cool, cool. So in Latvia, you're from right here,
Valmiera.
Valmiera.
Yeah. Yes,
Wow.
exactly. So
So cool.
yeah, I graduated from my high school as the number one, and I really loved that. So I always love to go for the number one roles. So and went into studying optometry in University of Latvia. So I thought like I like science. I like I don't know all the subjects that were connected to optometry, and like so not really an optometrist as you can tell, but yeah, like in the first year of college, I was all about studying, getting good grades, getting a job, and then going on to do the I don't know, family and stuff, everything. So and then there was, I think, I don't know, in the winter time, my uncle started to telling me about this book called Secret. You probably know, like universe and thoughts and everything. And that is the first time in my life that I heard about vision and attracting things. And I tried a few mental exercises about attracting money and scholarships and so on. And then one day I was walking with my friend, my course mate on the street, and then I got a text like saying, "Hey, so you got you're in a role for the scholarship, so congratulations. It's like a like waiting line. So I'm like, yay, like I got a scholarship. I didn't know what to do with the money. And then half an hour later, I get a call from this girl from my high school. And she says that, hey, I want to talk to you about a job selling books in America. I'm like, okay. So these two things connected me. Is like, hey, I have money and I have a job in America. Is like, wow, this can't be real. So something of these, like, I don't know, the thoughts and then
Scam.
thinking about, no, never. I was thinking, I like, nobody has ever told me about job in America, so like definitely needed to check it out. So the next day I went to a like presentation about selling books with my course mate who was next to me when they called. She was super skeptical. I was not. I was a pony. So I was
We
sold.
all are. We're all ponies. You have to be a pony to do this job.
Yeah. And what sold me is that my manager Leva, she was from my school a year older than me. And at first I was like, she went there and like back and forth a few times, and I'm telling to my course mate, I think I know that girl. And then she comes again, and I was like, no, that's a different person. And then, like, I think I have seen her somewhere. And then I was thinking, like, this doesn't go together with what I have seen in the hallways of my high school. She was so super positive. She was like shining. She was so like, she was a different person that I would have remembered. And so yeah, like, and she was my manager. We're still really good friends. And yeah, like, that's the
Wow.
start of it. And I was sold on the change that she had gone through. Even if I didn't know her personally, I just liked what she really, like, what she radiated. So the
Yeah.
program.
And so do
Yeah.
you I always like to ask this too. So it was like you kind of already answered it though, because normally people go, "Oh, I just really like the money or the opportunity or the challenge."
Mm.
But then I ask, what was it though, really? Because there's that, and then inside the pony in us, there's something that we just like hook on
Yeah,
to,
it's a change
right?
in people, plus the values and like everything that they in the preparation for Southwestern. You already learn about goals, you learn about self-talk, you learn about like all the things that weren't, like, they were quite foreign for me. And but they were also going aligned with everything else that I learned in the book The Secret. And like, that was a huge thing back then, or even in, like, even before. But like, all of those things started to make sense for me. And this, like, selling books, it wasn't about selling the books, it was more about putting into practice all those things that the
Mm,
Southwestern is teaching.
mm.
So
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. So let me ask you this, because I've asked this to our other European guests. Wow, this is so fun. I love your story. Is so cool. I'm mind blown right now. This is amazing. Um, when you're sitting in this room and you're thinking, okay, wow, I need to go do this. This is this is are you feeling nervous? Are you feeling excited because of the United States? Like what's the mentality behind our this country for you guys? Like at least for you anyway. Like what was that like for you to think, oh man, the United States, like is it, I don't know, what was the perspective there?
just like traveling to United States, there's an opportunity. Like, of course, everybody wants to go to the States. And like, I haven't come from a super wealthy family, so we hadn't traveled as much like up until then. I think I had flown to Norway once and been to like the Baltic states, and maybe a little, oh, like with choir we like traveled through the Europe a little bit with a bus. But like, just like, yeah, I was hooked on traveling, but it wasn't the main reason. It was the program. It was more that I bought into the program. Like,
Right.
I could have gone with any other program, I guess, and it wouldn't be the same. So, but the States, of course, is the dreamland. It's the American dream. Everything like bigger and better. And so yeah, like, it was exciting. I was super psyched to be, yeah, going to United States. And the first summer, like when we landed in Nashville and in sales school, we didn't know where we're going. What is the territory? So my org, like, oh well, he announced like, you're going to Georgia. And I'm like, Georgia, yay! Where is Georgia? I have no idea. So, so
Oh
you
man,
have no idea. Yeah, we don't study the
it's
states so much.
wild.
So,
Yeah, it's like most people don't. I mean, most people here don't know where like Georgia is actually.
yeah,
So, I mean,
exactly.
I think people know where Texas is because just Texas just is so big, and then
Hmm.
everybody knows where California is because
Yes.
movies, and then Florida because it's like the little lip, right? The little
And New
bit,
York,
and then
of course.
yeah, and then of course New York is New York, like the ones you see in movies, right? But then if you're like,
Yeah.
hey, where's Kansas? No idea. Po- Point out Kentucky, no clue. Nobody knows. So for sure.
Yep.
Now, what did your parents say? So you go home, you see this crazy experience, and you're like, Mom, Dad, I'm going to the United States. I'm going to sell them books door to door. What do they say?
They were supportive. They let me make my mistakes. They were like all in. So basically, and since I had my scholarship, it was less to sponsor. We had to, like, I think it was around 2000 ish, like 2500 to go to United States. Have to
Right.
buy our own tickets, the visas, the permits, everything. So it's not the cheapest thing, but I had some money already, so I had like others, like my grandparents and my parents, like sponsored me as well, but they were all in. So
Wow, that's so cool. The we we've asked, and it's so funny to say it. This is the first time I mention it, but talking to our other European friends as well, there's so many similarities, even though we're in different countries and different
yeah.
upbringings. I mean, it's nothing different than some people that I've talked to in other
Hmm.
episodes, not just in Europeans, but just all of my episodes. It's like my parents didn't want me to do it, or my parents were super supportive, or my mom said no, my dad said yes, or whatever, right? It's the same
Hmm.
thing. It's kind of like the same. It's all the
Yeah, I
same.
think if I try to remember exactly what my mom or dad said, it was like, "Do you want to go?" Like, so whatever you wish, we're supporting you. So it was even harder to decide because I was psyched, but I wanted an opinion. But they were like, "Whatever you like." So
Yeah, my parents
that's
were
so
like
good.
that too. My parents. So I got recruited in my. I had said yes before I even talked to my parents because it was like towards the end of
Mm,
the like 3 days before sales school. So I was just
crazy.
like, yeah. Well, and for you guys, it's crazy because you still got to get your visas and stuff. So there's like still a
Yes.
chance you can't even come even if you want to. But
Mm,
for me, I had already said yes. I'm like, all right, let's do this. And then they didn't have time to do parent work or anything. So I called my parents and say, hey, so I'm going to New York. Um, and I'm in Nebraska, right? So I'm like, so I'm going to New York, and I leave in 3 days. So
bye.
yeah. And so my dad said, "Did you tell him you're going for sure?" I said, "Yeah." I signed the DA and everything. He's like, "All right, did you commit for the whole time?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "All right. Well, then if you're don't come back here in July, I didn't raise a quitter. So
Very good.
better do it well." And I was like, yes sir. Like, that was my parents, and so I kind of had the same mentality where they're like, all right, we raise you good enough that we trust that you can make good decisions by this point in your life, so
True.
good luck, and do well. So that's so cool. So you flew in. What was that experience like? Of you landed in what, in where did you land? Where was your first
Um,
airport in the United States?
I think I was going through Toronto and then then Nashville.
Oh wow,
I think so.
so your first US experience was in Nashville.
Yeah, like definitely Nashville. I wouldn't remember anything. So yeah, Toronto and Nashville. I think so.
Whoa.
Maybe a stop between, but yeah, Nashville for sure.
And what in your mind first look US? Because I moved from Colombia to the Nebraska, and when I got to Miami, I was like, wow, everything's big. What was your like first reaction? I guess. What
Yeah,
do you remember?
everything's the cars are big, but like the one feeling that I felt like when I stepped out of the plane and I went to the, like, I don't know, like something, a hallway or something. I was like, this is hot. They're not ventilating or something. So then I went to the airport. Then I went out and it was nighttime, I think, and it was like humid and hot. And I'm like, it's supposed to be chilly in the night, not hot. So that was a big memory that I have, that like we're coming from a northern country, and like usually when even in the summertime when you go outside in the morning like 7 8 a.m., you're like kind of like chilling a little bit
Yeah.
until it warms up. And then here it was the opposite. You're in a chill room with AC on all day all night long. Then you go outside and then you're like, what the heck? So yeah. So that was Nashville and Georgia. I didn't experience anything else my first summer.
Yeah, Georgia is humid. Are you thirsty? Okay, you're no longer thirsty. That's a
Exactly.
wow. And then how did that first week, first day, first summer, how like walk us through like that first experience of like the first door, the first week. How did it all go?
I was so nervous, and yeah, I went. And my roommate dropped me off my first day, and I had 5 clients. I don't remember anything else, but just like share, like I'm from Latvia, I love it here, like just doing the self talk, and somehow people bought. And later on I realized in my stats that that was a 5 client day. I did a pretty good. And even at the end of the day, there was a tornado warning. I couldn't finish my stats with 30 demos. I think I did 25, but then I ended up like staying in someone's house eating some kind of like chocolate bars. I don't remember, bunnies something. So, and like I was feeling so bad. I'm eating like chocolate bars and I can't do my stats. I'm a failure because I didn't do my 30 demos. And that was my first day. Of course, it didn't
Wow.
follow with more of those days every day of the summer, but I think that was a really good memory. Yeah. Then like a week passed or so, and I remember that was my crying time, like the dirt pile time where I didn't know what to do. That I was in a community that there were a lot of Mexicans and
Mhm.
trailers and so on in a little city and or little town, and then none of them spoke English. So here I am, Latvian, going to sell books in English. That was a second language, and then they're like, no, no English, no English. So
Oh no.
and then I was like, what, how can I even sell books? They're like, no, like all the moms and kids like, no English, no English. And then yeah, then my manager in the evening, she's like, oh, that's easy, I sold in Chicago last year, like I'll teach you this approach in Spanish. So I still remember. So, hola, ¿cómo estás? Me llamo Darta, soy estudiante de Europa. Miro todas familias aquí, niños chiquitos y grandes, en libros para niños. So that's basically my approach that I remember,
Yes.
and that was what
Yeah.
saved my
Oh, that's
summer, I
amazing.
think. With yep.
Wow, that was
So,
awesome.
and
You're
then
so
suddenly
good.
they suddenly started talking like in English to me back, so because I tried. So yeah.
Wow. Amazing. Amazing. You are
Yeah.
awesome.
I still
Wow.
know myself talk in Spanish, right?
Yeah, that's impressive. That's impressive. I was gonna ask you that next. How good was your English when you first came? Were you pretty sharp with it, or you still learning, or how was that curve?
English was one of my favorite subjects in school, so I liked it, but I had never had so much practice. So that was one of the
Mm,
challenges, because at first, when you haven't had so much practice, you're looking for words and you can get stuck when you're trying to explain something and it takes longer time. But I think sometimes people also see it as a good thing when you're in sales. They don't really see you as a salesperson because you're not perfect. So maybe
right.
it helped me.
That's interesting. I've never heard that perspective before, but I appreciate you have such a good perspective. Like your attitude's phenomenal.
Thanks.
That's well, makes sense why you did so well. Wow. And okay, so now the end of the first summer, or like I guess there's probably a lot of stories there, so feel free to share as
Yeah.
much as you want. What were some of the highlights that you remember of like your experience the first summer? Is there anything that like really sticks out to you?
One of the things, like even for the people who are still selling or so, like I remember my whole org was in the suburbs of Atlanta, or like somewhere around Dalton. I don't know, like all those big cities and rich people. And me and my
Right.
roommate, we were the only ones in the countryside. And
Oh, nice.
I had so one of the things I remember is that I was selling on bicycle for 3 weeks until I was like chicken farm, like no people in between. So I had to find a car and find like kind of solutions to my problems. I think I had more problem solving opportunities in my summer than my other org mates. But the thing I remember is that people who were in the suburbs, they were like, oh, it's like I can't get any sit downs, I can't get any sit downs, and like they were like, yeah, complaining about everything that is bad. And I was like, I can't find any people to see, so I can get sit downs, but there's literally like, I don't know, a mile between the people who like, and then they're not home. So I end up driving up those like mile long driveways and then nobody's
Mhm.
home, and then back. So it's a little bit different. I So we had different problems, and the grass is always greener on the other side. So I think like whether you can focus on your own situation and marry your turf. That was what I did, and I really loved my turf. Even
Oof.
like narcotics and like, I don't know, hillbillies and everything possible was there. But then the others, like who are selling in like the nice turf, how first years usually sell, so they were like complaining and quitting. And so yeah, that was like,
Mhm.
yeah, that was my thing, that I was like, I'm sticking to my turf. I love it. I don't want to listen to others puking.
That is such a wow. That is phenomenal because here's the thing. I think turf matters, but what doesn't matter is what makes it not matter is your attitude. That's the key right there. Turf matters for sure, right?
Yeah.
If you sell in the country, it just by naturally you're not going to see as many people. However, on the
Mm.
other side, they're much nicer. They're so much
Hmm.
nicer. People are way more welcoming. You knock on the door like, "Hey, what are you doing? You want some water? You want something to eat?" All the time, like almost every house. Like it's so nice. On the other hand, you sell city or more maybe suburbs, right? All the houses are close together. People aren't as nice because they get door-to-door people
Hmm.
all the time. You see more people, right? So, it is. And if you understand how to work them, then that's when it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I don't care if it's city or if it's suburbs or if it's apartment complexes or whatever. Like I can make it work no matter what. It's just understanding those. But what you're
And
saying
they
and
have
what I,
different objections as well in each turf. So different
yeah,
problems that they're facing and different selling points.
absolutely. Yeah, it's time the my husband's at home, whatever, like
Mm.
everything is kind of different depending on where you're at, right? Like what was powerful about what you're saying and I think is so huge is you didn't have time to worry about complaining. You should easily, oh man, I drove down this mile long driveway, nobody's home, I just wasted gas, I just wasted money, I just wasted time. You could totally say that.
Mm.
And that's true. Or you can say what you're
Oh, it
saying, which
felt that
is,
way.
yeah, it felt that way. But you chose to focus and have the perspective of, hey, you know what? Like, at least I have a car. At least I can. At least the people are nice. Like you chose to have a positivity mentality, and
Yeah.
that speaks volumes. Wow.
Yeah, I brainwashed myself listening to More Tutley recordings on repeats all day long. So I know them by heart.
Something always happens. Oh,
Yes.
gotta love more. At least so fun. Wow, that is such a powerful lesson. Such a powerful lesson. What do you think was the biggest point of growth that first summer for you though, overall? Like what was the biggest like moment where
I
you went
re-
from, okay, June
Hmm.
was this, now I'm in September, here I am now.
I think attitude was my biggest
Mm.
takeaway from the first summer. I remember sharing with my DSL at the time, Veikoros, like that uh, attitude was the key, and he was sending these letters every Sunday to read for us, and like he was like sending it in one of those. I remember he had highlighted attitude, 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 and I really really understood that like problem solving, selling, everything is about your own inner attitude and how you control yourself. And that was what I was kind of grinding every day of the summer, I think, to be better in my head.
Wow. Wow. And how did you decide you wanted to come back? I mean, did you love it? You're like, I have to come back for more, or were you kind of not so sure? What was that like?
Oh, like I was sold. I was sold and
All in.
like just all in. Let's get to be a SM OL. I think one of the Magistraud was my OL that summer, and like after 1 year of selling, I felt like, and the managers and him, like I was looking at him and looking at his communication skills, and I'm like, oh, I'm still not good. Like I'm still so bad. I still need to learn. So having people who are like better than you in communication, really, like you're just always one level behind somebody who has been there for more years than you. So it just sells naturally. I felt like
Mm,
that's one of the things that I can learn and I can get better at.
amazing. Amazing. And how did that summer go? Did you have a good summer as far as production? Like, good, or did you break even? How did that go?
I hit Sizzler, but I would love to share that as the pony story for
Okay.
the end,
Okay, so we'll
how I
share
did
that.
that. Yep.
Okay, cool. So we got a ponytail right there. Cool, cool, cool. So all right, let's fast forward then. So summer number one in Georgia. Where were you at number two?
Canada, I didn't get a visa.
Oh,
I
wow.
was in Manitoba, Canada.
Oh, this got to be
So
different.
we were the first 5 Europeans in Canada who sold books there. So Chris Adams, who was our big DSL, big leader, he flew in to do a little sales school for us, just for us. He helped two of the Estonian girls get over the border with the permit to come to Canada because they were rejected on the border flying in. So that was quite a different story. All of my first years were in the USA. I was in Canada.
Wow. So what were the biggest differences, do you think? Besides, I mean, I can probably imagine, but could you tell us?
From bank systems, like everything that you've learned for the bookfield, bank systems. Also, being on like first summer, I was in a car. Second summer, I was all on a bicycle because of being under 25. You can't rent a car, and there was no Nashville, no systems, no people that that like can help you. Uh, Plus, people learning English, like learning their studies in French rather than English, or French immersion. So they had like a double language thingy going on.
Yeah.
So it was quite challenging, and yeah, but what doesn't kill us makes us stronger.
Yeah.
So I'm
And it wasn't as humid.
still. Oh, it wasn't. And the upside was the lights. Like it was light up until 9:30 in the evening. So compared, like complete opposite from Georgia summer, where
Oh.
it's like pitch black at 7 p.m. So
Yeah, that's so true because you're up north.
north, yes, exactly.
So it's
That's more like
9:30,
home.
nobody's mad. You're like, all right, I'm just
Yes,
chilling. I'm gonna go till 10. That's
yes.
awesome.
That was pretty awesome the whole summer. But yeah, like basically it was a summer of managers because none of the first years were there. So all of us were
Yeah.
managers, but we were all dealing with our attitudes being where we weren't supposed to be for that summer. So again, attitude.
Yeah.
and and then if I go through the summers, Georgia again, this
Yeah,
third
yeah.
summer, just Athens. Then I went to South Carolina.
Oof.
Um, so all the east, like I'm the east girl. So then one summer in Idaho, I loved Idaho. That was such a different
Whoa.
experience.
Yeah.
then
And it's
then
pretty.
Indiana, yeah.
Mountains. So many mountains.
Mountains, yeah. I love rodeos, mountains, such like Mormons, such a different experience too. And then I can go through and then you can
Yeah.
ask about each of them or so. But then I came back to the east to Indiana,
Mhm.
then Pennsylvania,
Ooh,
and then what else? Indiana and Ohio, and then a mix of Indiana again.
nice. So corn. Corn
Corn,
and corn.
yes, exactly.
Let me
And
ask
RVs,
about let me ask about the number one summer. Your number one summer. Then summer
yeah.
was it? So you were number one in
2017, that was
2017.
my number, summer number 8 for me.
Okay. And that was the biggest summer you had?
Yes,
Okay. So
almost
how many?
12,000 units.
Wow. Okay. So just for people who know, that's amazing. So incredible. So 12,000 units, which is insane. So let me ask you a couple of things. I'm curious, and this is pretty good for maybe anybody even currently selling books that's listening to this, or maybe people who are about to go, depending on when they're listening. But for me, the best I ever did was 4,200 units first summer. Woohoo! You sold
That's a good
three
first
times.
summer.
Yeah, but I mean, compared to 12,000, it's garbage. So let me ask you this, and I didn't know what I was doing. You know what I'm saying? It went downhill from there. So how long were you trying to get to that number? Like, was it just one preparation, or were you building up to that, or like what was the trajectory first of all to get to that?
So first summer, 1222 or 28. 12, yeah, like so basically first summer barely sizzler.
1,200.
1200s, then it
Okay.
was 1500, 1800, 2000, 2500, 20 whatever. I think I got to 3000 before my sixth summer, and then I grew wind leaps. So
So okay, yeah, okay. So and I've always wanted to know this because I want to know the mentality and what changed. Because how did you do that? Like specifically, was it more mental? Was it preparation? What really helped you jump like that?
uh so this is maybe helpful, maybe not for somebody, but I have cleared it through my head so many times. So I was pushed into an Amish turf in my sixth summer. I didn't want to go there, but my manager Ronald said like you have to go there. So
This
I'm
is
like, okay,
Pennsylvania.
yeah, Pennsylvania, Lancaster
Yeah.
County.
Hmm.
So I was selling over Maria, Ronald's sister, who had sold 5,000 or 6,000 units before my summer there, and I put those units on the map, and it looked like scariest turf ever because every second house or every house on the street had bought something from her. So I had to go exactly where she went and sell more books.
Wow.
And so 2 weeks I think I was with more with the Oregon and following and everything, and then I went to the Amish. And my preparation before the summer for the Amish was interviewing all the people who had sold them. And my best advice was, you'll learn. There's no self talk. You just go there, you'll learn. So so just go and talk to them, or whatever I say or whatever I tell you, I might be completely wrong. So just go and figure it out. So that was all the preparation I did for that. So I went for the first houses that I knew that they had bought from Maria. I asked like, "Hey, what do you like about the books? Can you write me a testimonial?" And I basically built my self-talk from those testimonials. And so the summer that I hit first growth or first VIP trip was from, so basically not having a self talk, knowing what a self talk should look like,
Hmm.
not having it, and then building it from scratch in a specific turf that nobody really has written a self talk for. So
Okay.
so
Yeah.
and
Wow.
then so going with stories with like referrals, and like referrals I learned by the end of the summer, but first I just went door to door, hard knock in Amish turf. And at first I felt like they are like the first two families that I met, Mennonite and Amish. Mennonites were mean. They were just plain mean to me. And the Amish, like the first ever family that I met, I felt like there's something wrong with them. Like the wife is not talking, the husband's barely speaking to me, and I'm trying to like just bring out something from them, and they're like, so
Yeah. Yeah. I sold
so
in
that
Pennsylvania,
was
so
the
I get
yeah.
it.
So that was my impression, and no possible preparation for that, but I grew quite a lot. I think 5.6k units
That's wild.
from the
That's a
previous,
jump.
the jump from around 25,000, I think. Yeah, so like a double.
Yeah.
And
So even
then
that alone is impressive. Wow. Good.
mm,
Even that
yeah.
alone, it's like, wow, you jumped from 2,500 to 5,600. That's a jump. That's it. You don't accidentally sell 5,000 units. Like you meant to do that. That's crazy.
Yeah, and then the next summer, um or like, yeah, the next summer I grew from that to 12,000. uh,
Wow. Amazing.
yeah, my manager purely chose the turf for me because he said like, okay, you know how to sell Amish, I'm gonna send you to another turf like that. And it was Indiana, and uh, completely different Amish, completely different selling points. They were using phones, they were more modern, they were quite different. And but I learned that, like you said, turf, like as you change turf, there's just like how fast do you adapt and how fast you can like learn what works there. So and then that was the first summer that I did referrals only. I knocked on 5 doors, and like cold doors. I gathered enough referrals to get me through the day, enough referrals to get me through the week, and then just referrals all day long. So
Whoa,
uh,
that's new. So this might not work for everyone, but okay, tell me more. This is interesting. This is so crazy.
it was
So,
fun. So like, yeah, like apart from the regular people, they know people and they know their addresses way better, their memories work better. But all in all, like just building the trust with them, it does like take time to build trust in a community, sometimes a day, sometimes a week. But so basically going from like being genuine with them, being honest, not like they are the ones who, whenever I would say a one price to another person and a different price to another, that some people are trying to say like, give me a discount, and I'm like, if I give one person a discount, the whole county is gonna know before the next day. So I can't be dishonest with anybody. So they appreciate me not being pushy, being really like laid back with them, and so on. But then yeah, the whole county was mine.
wow. So what did your day to day look like? Like so, because 12,000 units, how many weeks?
I think I did 13 weeks.
So it's about 1,000 units a week, a little less. It's nine. Yeah, and you
Yeah,
hit more. You hit more probably a couple times, right? To
yeah, yeah.
wow. So what is more, or what does your week look like? You get there day one. You're trying to just get what information are you trying to get? So like the community information, or just like the biggest names. Like
Referrals.
what was your mentality?
Just send me to whoever I can show these to. So just referrals, brothers, sisters, cousins, neighbors, like anybody who you think of. Your like bishops and deacons and all the church people who everybody admires their opinion. So just basically when I approach somebody, I would, hey Andres, like are you Andres? Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, my name's Dārta. You're probably wondering how I know your name. Like your brother Danny sent me here. So yeah,
You
sure.
know my brother.
I've heard of him and I've met him. So yeah, I was going and bluntly approaching people by their name, saying who sent them and how they know each other, and saying exactly what they need to hear to trust me. And then once they let me in, the trust is
Mm,
there, and I have a good product. There's no reason not to buy. So
wow. And so then so you average about 1,000 a week. So your typical day was, you're looking at what, 160 units a day, or like was it, or was it more like some days you were big and then some days were small, or how did it play out?
it grew over time. Like in my sixth summer, first time in Amish, I felt like 50 units is my comfort day, like comfortable, like this baseline. Like if I don't hit 50 units, I'm screwing up my day. So then in 2017, I grew to 100 units a day, and then eventually 150 units a day. Like if I haven't hit that, like I have a 0 day. So and
Wow.
then and it was a series of things because one our family didn't buy as much as with regular books because Amish don't buy everything. They don't buy
Right.
like the Advantage. They buy Bibles, they buy Explore and Learns, they buy kid
Explore and
books.
learns.
They
Yep.
yeah, they buy all sorts of Bible related things, and then they buy the kids books. But since my package was quite lower, then I had to sell many families, so typically around 40 families a week. So that was
That's
like sometimes 5 to 10 a day or more. So yeah.
Wow. So then when you were used to that and then you switch over to Advantage Books the next year where you can sell Advantage Books, all of a sudden, boom.
No, I didn't. I never switched back. I guess I was sent consistently till the last summer.
Wait,
I was ready to go back to the books if I had to, but I still got the
you're
chirp.
telling me you sold 12,000 units of kids books?
Yeah, like that was the summer. The 12,000 was the like,
What?
yeah, kids books.
Oh my God. That's insane. That means that if you would have
Yeah.
got sent to a turf like a regular turf, you could have sold 25,000. I mean, you double literally in production.
Yeah, if I applied those lessons, maybe, yeah. Like who knows?
Wow. Damn. Okay. Last question about this. This is so interesting. Because I love digging into the brains of like someone who does so well. So, did you know at the time, like, were you going for number one at that point, or were you just like, all right, this is what I'm going to do, and it just happens that I hit number one, or like, what was the like? How did you
No,
prep that?
by the second part of the summer, I was really motivated by Pacesetter. I was constantly trying to be on the top of Pacesetter, and I was checking it every week, and that was my best, like that was my best motivation. I was looking at like how can I improve my like stats and be better. So like meanwhile, I was looking at Americans had finished selling, so like no competition there. I was just climbing up like every single week. I was climbing up the to the be the number one in sales for European division, whoever was selling, and then hoping fingers crossed nobody's in Canada who can sell for longer for like half a year and then hit bigger numbers. But yeah, like then the last week I was really racing against myself and Tele. Tele was number two
Yeah.
that summer. She was sharing later on. She wasn't super competitive, but like she was like, I don't care. I cared a lot, so that helped me. That she was really really close, so I had to hit it. So, but beforehand, I had never imagined selling even 10,000. Like Rano was like, when I was approaching 10,000, and I was like, yeah, this could be a 10,000 unit summer. Rano was like, maybe go for 12. I was like, what? No.
Wow.
So, yeah, it
Wow.
was
Well,
really
that's
good.
what I love. That's what I love about book people. I've told this story before, but that's the kind of like when you surround yourself with book people, they bring that on. And you're like, maybe you should just do 12. Like, what? You know,
Hmm.
I've told this story before, but I'll tell it here because I think it's worth mentioning. But my brother Danny and I, we were student managers in Lincoln, and we had a friend named Mitch who came up to us, and he was kind of like bothered. He's like, man, I don't know. It's like, what's up, dude? Tell us. And he goes, I don't know. I kind of want to run a half marathon, but a bunch of people don't think I can do it. And I looked at Danny, and he looked at me, and we knew what we were doing. He looked at me. We looked at each other. We looked at Mitch, and Danny goes, half. I go, half. Danny goes, half. And then Mitch looked at us. He goes, no, you're right. I should probably run a full, huh? I'm like, yeah, dude, go run. He ran a full. He's ran so many marathons at this point. Like, but it's just that mentality of people believing in you when even sometimes you don't believe in yourself. That is such a
Yeah.
cool part of the community of alumni that if you tell them, hey, this is when I started the podcast, you know, with Nick, and we were like, oh, this is a hobby. But then when we started actually going, hey, what if we can do this? All the book people were like, yeah, you could totally do that. All of them. I've told people who are friends of mine
Yeah.
here at home, they're like, oh, I don't know, there's so many, it's so hard to get on YouTube and blah blah. It's like, I don't need this shit. Talk to book people, and they're all like, yeah, you can do
Can do
that.
it.
It's so
Yeah.
cool. It's so cool. And so, wow, so you never even thought you were gonna hit 10. This is very
No.
unique because most people that hit 10 are
No.
like, I'm gonna hit 10, but you
No.
hit 10.
I
Wow.
went in, I just wanted to have a good time, to have a good summer. Just I guess the relaxed sensation of it so helped me hit number one. I had never like I had put once on my vision board that I want to be in the best in Latvia or the world at something. So and I forgot it. I think that was preparing for summer number two. And then later on I found that vision board and I'm like, here you go.
You did it.
It comes true.
You spoke it
And
into existence.
and small note about marathons. going into my sixth summer before the Amish and like no preparation, there was a first year who was prepared to be a top first year sitting next to me on the plane from Estonia. And he was like, I'm doing a bet with my buddies. I'm doing a bet with my buddies. Do you want to do a bet? And I'm like, I don't want to do a bet. So, and then he said like, what, like, if I don't hit my goal, I'm gonna go on a Tinder gay date that ends with a kiss. And he's straight. So like, that's crazy. And he's like, want to do a bet too? Like, sure, okay, let's see. Like, I told my goal was 6,000 something units, and if I don't sell that, then I can run a full marathon. Because like, if I want to do it, I had to be young, and I want to do it once in my life at least. So I barely hit it. I almost hit that goal, but barely missed it. So basically, I because of that, I ran a full marathon. So
Wow.
that was a good bet. I've had
Heck
bad
yeah.
bets before.
It was a win-win, you know?
Yes, it was a win-win.
Wow. Incredible. Dang, so you sold, okay, wow, let me recap all of this. You went from 1,200 units, 1,800 units, to 2,000.
Yeah.
You jumped to 5 in Amish territory based on a sales talk that you had to create on the spot, that then you went referrals to. Then the next summer, you go to another Amish territory that's a little different, but still Amish in Indiana. And based on that sales talk and only kids' books, you sell 12,000 units and become the #1 dealer in the world.
Yeah.
Cool. That makes sense.
And the next summer I had a little bit less time, and then I still sold 9.5 thousand, I think, something like that. So I wasn't as motivated anymore, but I was like dealing with changing turfs in the middle of summer. So half summer Indiana, half summer Ohio. And
Wow.
it was quite different, but I still managed to jump like quite a few different communities and do the like really good
Wow.
numbers too.
And you went all only Amish essentially, pretty much.
Amish Mennonites, yeah.
Unbelievable. And then you have like Emil, who also then ended up selling a ton of, right? Like
They're
the summers
crazy.
after that. That's
Like,
wild.
I don't know how they do it, like 20, 30,000 units. Like, I hit my like intensity level was quite high. Of course, each person could have bought more. That's the question, I guess. Yeah. But
Yeah, I mean, you could have sold Advantage. If you would have sold Advantage books, which are like way more units, then maybe.
Yeah,
That's
they just do 8 grades, so it's like,
yeah.
it's different.
Yeah. We've talked about Amish here, and for people who don't know, the reason that you can't sell the Advantage books, or that maybe if you didn't sell books, you don't know what we're talking about. So basically, there's the kids' books that are for like, kiddos from like maybe up to 5th grade, maybe the Explore and Learns,
Yeah,
all the way
I
from
like
like the
them.
babies, like your baby
Yeah.
to 5th grade. And then the Advantage books are to help with homework. So the kids' books are more fun, interactive, all this cool stuff, really educational. But then the Advantage books are like kindergarten through 12th grade, and they help with math, history, science, all the things. And then there's the websites, right, that go along with it. The issue, or the reason that you can't sell to Amish or Mennonite families, is because they stop at 8th grade. And in 8th grade, they stop going to school, and then they start doing crafts, and then they start working on like their building and their like all sorts of different stuff. And so they're not interested in those books. They don't need to know about calculus. They don't need to know about like algebra. They
No
just
algebra.
stop. They just stop at geometry essentially, because that's what helps them build and helps them kind of grow their community. And so you can't do that. So you almost exclusively have to sell them the kids' books. And then there's also the family Bible libraries, which Southwestern carries, and then you can sell them that as well. So when you're kind of stuck and limited into what you can show, and to give you an idea, a full kid set is maybe 28 units. And then a family Bible library is like 16, I think, at least back from what I remember. And then a full Advantage book set is 50, plus the CEA is 70, plus the website. So you're literally a third or a fourth of the package size max.
But as well, I had to be creative how to add units to the set. So I gave cookbooks as a gift. So I raised the price and gave cookbooks as a gift. For every sale, everybody got a cookbook. And
they will never know, because they won't watch this, because they don't have internet.
Who knows? Anyways, it was a good tactic, because whenever I wanted to sell a cookbook, they're like, look at my cookbook shelf. I have full of them. And then when I said it's a gift that comes with the books, and they're like, my wife is gonna love this. Like, oh, I'm gonna give it to my mom or so. Like they loved it. So, but either way, like that was the way how to hit bigger numbers. Plus, I had to learn health and wellness that was out of stock a few
Yeah.
years later or something, I think. And
Yeah.
then some other books. I was just bringing books out of the like dusty warehouses. The one book was a Bible dictionary. So there was like a book like this size, a Bible dictionary. So there was like literally no pictures, and there's like translation of like whatever, I don't know, Mary, how many times Mary has been mentioned in the Bible, and so on. So I sold those a heck a lot. Like that was like 3 or 4 units. So I dug up so many different books that, like, what else can we sell them?
Man, you were
So
emptying
yeah.
Southwestern's warehouses. It was like, we've had these
Yes.
for 10 years. Darta.
And yeah, we finished with some of those.
Unbelievable. I am mind blown. This is the craziest, craziest thing I've heard. This is so awesome. You are impressive.
Thank you. It
Yeah,
was
so cool.
fun. I enjoyed the process. So I'm so thankful I got those. Yeah, I got to connect with Amish families, and it turns out they're not mean.
Yeah, they're not. They're very nice. There's a guy named Eric Wesner.
Yes, I have a story about that, Eric, if we have time.
Yeah, we have, I
Yes.
mean, we're an hour and 15. Are you okay to go for another 15, 20?
Yeah, sure.
So let's do Eric stories and then we can do your ponytails.
Sure. Yeah,
Cool.
so
Let's do it. Because I
that
love Eric.
kind of
Eric's
could be
awesome.
Eric has made this website Amish America. I'm watching his YouTube channel. Like it's super interesting. He tells
Yeah.
about Amish way of life. So I
Yep.
in the first summer in the Pennsylvania when I was selling there, I met an Amish guy who was Eric's one of like good friends in Amish community. So and then yeah, like that was, what is his name, Benny Reel, I think Ben Reel. I could stick
Hmm.
to that if my memory is correct.
That
And then
sounds.
he was he was like, oh, I have so many books, and he showed like so many books, but like Eric never sold me any of the other books. So like, you want to buy some? Like, no, like all good. So we get to talk and talk, and then I keep taking out books from my bag, and all of the regular books that I sell Amish that don't really interest him. So I'm like, I have these other books. I keep them in the car because I don't carry them around. It's pretty heavy. So I showed them the Advantage books, and he's my only customer who bought the entire set of Advantage books. And then he wanted me to send a picture to Eric that like, hey, like Darta is the real Southwestern book salesperson, not you. She I bought books from her and not you. So we sent the email to Eric that I will take. Oh, this is not working anymore. So yeah, you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we sent an email with a picture of Ben holding the sign that like I'm the real book salesperson, and like yeah, like that he didn't manage to sell books to him. So
That's
yeah, it was fun.
hilarious.
Haven't
Eric's
talked
cool.
to Eric after that, but I love his videos.
Yeah, he's awesome. He'll probably be on the show uh at some point coming up here. Going, oh, it's because you took your headphones out.
Hey, no, can hear me or
Hold
I can hear you.
on. I just muted you really quick. You can still hear me, right? Okay. I think what we can do is if you turn down, something is wrong with your microphone. So we could, if you, I don't know if you have a second set of headphones or if there's like a way you could turn down the audio so you can still hear me but barely, because I think we're echoing.
Oh, okay. Earplugs are kind of running out.
Hold on. Type it on the chat. Technical difficulties. If I unmute you, it's like it sounds like a robot. It's really odd. I don't know exactly what's going on. But while you,
Can you hear?
yeah, but it sounds like a robot. You sound like, can you hear me now? Yeah. Oh, okay, here we go. You're on the chat. while you go, if you have an extra pair of headphones or plugins, okay, yeah, I'll wait for you, and I'll do some ads really quick. I'll talk about some of our partners. Yeah, no rush. Go ahead. Yeah. All right, cool. Well, we're about to roll into the pony stories anyway. It's been such a cool, interesting conversation with Darta, and she is phenomenal. Speaking of our European friends, I wanted to give a shout out to VDisain, Oscar and Oliver. So Oscar Koha and Oliver Reynes. And they're the masterminds behind our website. If you own a business and you want to have an effective presence online, we know at the podcast that you need a good website. So most American website developers will cost upwards of $25,000 to $50,000 to build your company's website. And while you could build one yourself for pretty cheap, the big thing our friends at VDisain are bringing is expertise in integrations, which is huge for us because there's so many moving parts to like our fans, our guests, and our sponsors that we automated everything so we don't have to worry about it, and they helped us do that. So it's pretty sweet. Our merch is also online that you can go check out. And if you are in a sales role and you're looking to do something in web development, if you want to be in sales for web development, please give us a call. We'll hook you up with VDisain. They are looking for salespeople and sales reps to do and expand their client base in the United States for the US market. So okay, here we go. You're back, and then you can unmute yourself there,
Yeah.
for sure. So
Is it better now?
yeah, heck yeah.
Okay. My earphones died, so I'm
It's
good
all
now.
right. It's okay. And then I'll finish up with this. EnLight.Energy is one of our oldest partners, and they started to do with solar what Southwestern has done to real estate. If you have a passion for the planet, a desire to earn good money, really good money, and you want to work with someone like Nick Taverdi, let's see how you can join him and Julio Hernandez at EnLight.Energy. Alex Black was also on the show. He is awesome as well. A sale every other week in this is not, if you get 5 customers like Darta, you'd be a millionaire. But a sale every other week in solar is enough to earn 6 figures for the year. And they have the ability to work with people pretty much everywhere in the US. So make sure you reach out to us. We'll put you in touch with them. And then again, one more time, last shout out to Cardinal Senior Benefits. We appreciate y'all. You guys are the best. And one of the biggest reasons that we love working with them is they do direct mail leads. So essentially, people mail in interest. That's how they get their warm leads. So basically, this is kind of what it looks like. You may qualify for a program to assist with final expenses. It is important you know how to qualify for this life insurance and benefits available to you. Is this life insurance will pay for the funeral and final expenses up to the amount that you want. If you're interested in that, complete the information below. That's what people fill out, and they fill it out pretty regularly. So that's how they kept getting warm leads. So if you want to be a part of an organization where it's kind of like referral based that Darta is working, instead of going door to door cold knocking or prospecting or cold calling, no more of that. Warm leads that are coming to you. And again, they are crazy numbers. 25% of the organizations earning 10K a week. Definitely worth checking them out. Give us a call or click on the link below to refer yourself or a friend for Cardinal. So for sure. Alrighty, girl. Mom, badass
Awesome.
woman. You are the greatest. Let's do this. It is now time for the ponytail. Now it could be one or more stories, however many you want. It's your time. So the microphone is yours. Take it away.
Yeah, I was thinking what to share first, and then like the craziest summer or the craziest story happened in my first summer, but then it's kind of connected with others as well. So when you're European and you go to the United States, you like, and especially if you're under 25, it's kind of hard to get a car or any transportation to move around, or insurance for a car. So there's like plenty of difficulties to deal with. And so my history of cars, usually it's gonna be rental car after I'm 25, but beforehand, from starting from 19 to 25, I actually had to drive like several different cars there. And fun fact, I've owned 3 cars in the United States and only 1 in Latvia so far. And then my first car was I got it from my host family and put it on my name. My second car was a I don't know, Nissan, something, and like a old boat car. And then my third car, that was a fail. I bought a car for my first year. I thought that I would help them. I bought an 1990 Lincoln Town car that was black with tinted windows, and like all painted like big city, like small city, big dreams. So it was like a narco dealer car, I think. So so he had a hard time going through the neighborhoods with it. So, and then it was after the summer, it was really hard to sell it. So I had to leave it to my host family. And I think I caused some trouble because they had hassle with it. So, and like couldn't even sell for scrap easily. So yeah, either way, my first car, car on my name was a Chevy van in Georgia, like I said before. And this car was my host family they were planning to, like, it was this their business car, and their amortization, or how do you call it, that it had gone like long enough for their business. So they were planning to give it as a gift to a lady who needed a car. So, or sell it for $1 for her. So meanwhile, while the lady didn't need it, they gave it to me as a book car, and it was pretty good. I worked like half of the summer with it, and then delivery week came, and I back then we did deliveries, and that was like the 12 or whatever weeks you sell, and then 1 week you deliver. And it was a totally different week. It was just stressful. You had to deal with the books and then like go back to the families and sell back to them. Like if they had only paid half, they might not want the books, and so on. So it was a stressful week, a lot of coffees, a lot of bank visits with the checks and everything. And like, so basically 1 day before my last day of delivery, I ran through a red light. That I was too tired to notice that I ran through a red light. And there were 2 lanes coming in from the highway that had just started to move like at a green light. And the first car stopped, and the second car didn't see me and bumped into me. So I flipped my car. And I remember going 1 or 2 rounds. I have no idea. So I just my car landed on the wheels. So that's the good part. And so yeah, like the first thought in my head was like, okay, I'm okay. It's like nothing hurts, and there was only 1 bump. Like there was actually no damage to me. So I stepped out of the car, and then I saw like all over the street there's glass, there's books. It's like in my head from sales school, books equal money, books equal money.
No.
So I started to take my delivery box, and I started to gather the books, and people ran over to me like, sit, don't do anything. So
it's like, no, this is money.
Yeah, like I was like, these books are valuable. I need to deliver them, and I was trying to like do the right thing, and then like one man came over to me, and he asked like am I okay? And I'm like, how's the car? Like, is it still repairable? And like he's like, honey, it's gonna be totaled. And I had no idea what totaled means in English. So I went over and looked at it, and it was like half, I don't know, one of the sides of the roof was punched in. I don't know how to say it. So yeah, like people helped me. They helped me gather my stuff. There's police. There's like, I don't know, the firefighters came. One of the policemen was my customer, so he's like, "Are you okay?" And so yeah, and then like the one thing, like they were asking for my documents, and I was like, last few days in the United States, and like asking for my documents, everything okay? I'm like, yeah, like giving everything that they need. He's like, you're gonna come with us. I'm like, okay. So he puts on a handcuffs on me, puts me in the back of the police car, and takes me to the county jail. And there I sat for 4 hours. And I that was my first summer's end of the summer experience. That like they took me to my hairband. They cut off my commitment band. Do you know that?
Yeah.
So like I'm committed, but they're cutting me off, and so on. They gave me the 1 or 2 calls that I needed to call somebody. And it turned out that they only took me into the jail because I was a European and my visa was about to expire, and they wanted to make sure I pay my fee for the accident. I had the money on me, but they didn't ask me. But so it was quite an experience. But
Wow.
yeah, and then I was still like 50 units short from Sizzler. so
Oh
the next
no.
day I was free from the jail and I had no car. I had like 3 counties to cover with deliveries. So I had like still one day of full of deliveries, and my roommate, my manager, helped me do the deliveries with me. So we managed to do some kind of a schedule, and I ended up selling 1,228 units. So I was 28 units over the Sizzler line, and I felt like I have earned my Sizzler. And
Yeah, no doubt.
yeah, but in my head, it was like all my profit has just gone away, because I was like, no way I'm going to be able to pay for this car. But my host family was like they were the best people ever. They didn't even ask me anything from the car, nothing. They were just like, we're glad you're okay and you're alive. And yeah, so
Wow.
yeah, best
Wow.
host families ever. Yeah.
Wow.
So if things are meant to be, they're gonna get to that, but there's gonna be bumps on the road for sure, and hopefully good ones, not disastrous ones.
Wow. That's bananas. Wow. That's
Yeah.
crazy. I'm proud of you. Good job.
Thanks.
That's amazing. That's such an
For
amazing
flipping a
story.
car. No.
No, for the
No, getting
mentality. Like you
Sizzler. Yeah.
to you it's here's the thing. To you it's just so normal to just stay positive that most people don't have. I mean, I don't know. I can't say most people, but a lot of people don't have that ability, even within Southwestern, right? So that's a skill that you have that I don't know that you're probably aware that you have it, but you were it's kind of like Messi,
I
right? Where
think I've
he's just
gained
good
it
at
in
soccer.
Southwestern.
Yeah, but also I think also you had it. Like it's kind of like Messi, where he came to Barcelona and he was like his talent was already that good, but then playing for
Mm-hmm.
Barcelona, it sharpened up. It's like you have this
Mm-hmm.
talent of good positive attitude, and then with Southwestern, you just sharpened it up, and now it's like bulletproof. It's amazing. So
Thanks.
commend to you, Darta Saulīte. You are so cool. Wow, I'm so
Yeah, I've
happy.
had fun with talking to you for sure. So
Thank you
many good
so.
memories.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's how we're going to close out. I'm going to go through some fun facts about your country, and you tell me if they are true or if they are not, and then we'll close it up. How's that sound?
Okay.
All right. Interesting facts about Latvia. Number 1, the first Christmas tree was decorated in Latvia in 1510. Is this true?
True.
All right. The Venta waterfall, or Ventas Rumba, is the widest waterfall in Europe.
Widest. Yeah.
Widest.
And in April, there's salmon jumping on like across the waterfall. So it jumps
Wow.
uphill the river stream. Yep.
Wow. Okay.
I
Okay.
think it's salmon. Like some kind of fish.
Salmon, right? As they
I
say, it's
think
salmon here,
I
but
think it's a little bit different. I have to think in Latvian before, but yeah, some kind of a salmon type of fish.
they jump over. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. An interesting phenomenon can be observed near the waterfall in spring and autumn when spawning fish try to get over the waterfall by jumping through the air. Right there. It
Spawning
says right here.
fish. Okay, that's how it's called. Okay,
When
good.
spawning fish. I don't know if that's right or not. I have
Probably
nothing.
true.
I know nothing about fish. I can see a goldfish, and that's it. That's all I know. Number 3, Latvian is one of the oldest European languages. 5,000 years old.
Could be.
Wow.
Don't know.
Okay.
Wasn't there before.
It's saying it is one of the most archaic oldest European languages, and it's conserved many features of over 5,000-year-old Proto-Indo-European, which is ancestral language to all European languages. There's also strong similarity between many words in Latvian and Sanskrit, the sacred language of Hinduism and Buddhism. Oh,
Yes.
interesting.
That's what
Latvia
I've heard.
has, yeah, so there you go. Latvia, number 4, Latvia has the 5th fastest internet in the world, ranking between Hong Kong and the Netherlands.
True. I
You have,
hate US internet.
wow.
It's
Yeah, my
too
Wi-Fi
slow.
sucked. That's right. Number 5, the jeans were invented by Latvian tailor
Yes.
Jacob
Yes.
Juffis.
Yes. So
Wow, like the blue
you can
jeans, like the
thank jeans material. So
yeah. Wow. Thank you,
Levi
Latvia.
bought it from him. Like Levi
Yeah.
got the idea from him. So that's
That's what
how
it says here.
ended.
Levi Strauss backed him financially. Thank you for my jeans. Okay, number 6, the Minox photo camera, the unofficial spy camera, was first produced in Latvia.
Yep.
Number 7, Latvia holds one of the largest song and dance festivals in the world, over 40,000 participants.
Yeah, like a choir of 40,000 people can sing one song. That's really powerful. I've been to at least one or two of those as a singer.
That's amazing. It's kind of like when you go to a soccer game, like a football game, they're all singing "Glory." You're like, what?
But better.
But in choir,
Yes.
but
Yes.
organized.
And when those happen every 4 years, then the tickets are sold out immediately.
Wow. That's going to be on my bucket list. I need to go see one of those somehow. Okay, and number 8, the Baltic Way, emotional protests against illegal Soviet occupation, now included in the UNESCO Memory of the World Register.
Yep,
I don't
around
know.
2 million people were holding hands to get freedom from Soviet Union in 1989.
August 23rd, 1989.
So
There it is. 2 million
across
people.
Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia. So they're like everybody was holding hands in 3 countries at the same time.
Yeah, against illegal occupation. Roughly 2 million people formed a massive human chain that spanned 600 kilometers. Wow. Wow. And this is for my American friends. Oh, wow. So cool. Wow. What an amazing country. And what an amazing guest. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you, Andres.
Hope you had a lot of fun. We will stay in touch for sure. And I will see you when I go to Europe, because I'm going to Europe.
Definitely.
I'm going to go see all these countries.
Call me.
I'm so excited. Yes, I will call you. No, you betcha. I will be on you. Hey, I need a place to stay. Yes, I shall be there. Thank you so much. My name is Andres Gamboa. This has been another episode of the Ponytails Podcast. Please stay tuned for more. This concludes our June, not our June month, but this is just another episode in our June of European Friends. We'll see you guys on the next one. If you guys want to get a hold of Dārta, just let us know. We will get you in touch with her. Maybe if you want some coaching, or if you want to work with her, or if you just have questions for her, let us know. We will put you in touch if she is has the time. Now that she's a mama, I'm sure she'll be glad to talk to you. Other than that, we'll see you guys later. See you on the next one. Bye.